This divorce paper, I can take it to City Hall right now, you know? But I guess that's impossible for an unemployed person like you, huh? You can't survive without me, right? As my husband said this, he handed me the signed divorce papers. He's always mocking me for being unemployed, and now he's using the divorce papers to make me obey him. What a cowardly man. Despite my desperate efforts to single-handedly take care of our twins, my husband doesn't show a single word of gratitude. Instead, he's trying to manipulate me by threatening me with divorce papers. He knows very well that I have nowhere to go if I'm kicked out of this house, as my parents live far away. My husband sneered at me as I stared solemnly at the divorce papers. You'd be in trouble if I divorced you, wouldn't you? You've been getting too cheeky lately, so I need to remind you of your place. Don't ever talk back to me again. Got it? As he tried to pull back the divorce papers, I snatched them from him. Then, with a beaming smile, I told him, "Thanks. I'll file them right away." Leaving my dumbfounded husband behind, I immediately took the twins and left the house. As I headed to City Hall, I muttered to myself, "You underestimated me." My name is Camila, and I'm 32 years old. I love kids, so after high school, I attended a vocational school with a childcare program and got my certification as a childcare worker. After graduating, I started working at a daycare and had fulfilling days. There were many challenges, but being a childcare worker felt like a calling to me because I love kids. Now, more than 10 years since I started working as a new graduate, I'm considered a veteran. My juniors rely on me, and the parents trust me. Amidst these smooth-sailing days, I had one concern. It was that I hardly had any opportunities to meet men. Many of my high school friends were getting married and having kids. I hadn't had a serious boyfriend since I started working. I didn't mind because I loved my job, but seeing everyone around me getting married made me wonder if I was okay with my life. Just as I was starting to feel anxious, I got a call from Sarah, a friend from high school. Sarah is a career woman working for a trading company and is a beautiful friend I'm proud of. "Hey Camila, it's been a while. How have you been? I heard Isabella is getting married. She contacted me about attending the wedding. Are you going?" Isabella was a friend who was in the same class as Sarah and me in high school. "Yeah, I'm definitely going. Everyone's finding happiness so quickly. I'm so jealous." I couldn't help but let my true feelings slip, and Sarah asked curiously, "You want to get married too, Camila? I thought you were all about work since I've never heard you talk about a boyfriend." "Of course, I want to get married. I want kids too. But I have no opportunities to meet anyone. I can't even remember when I last had a boyfriend." Hearing my gloomy voice, Sarah seemed to be thinking over the phone. After a few seconds of silence, she suddenly had an idea. "Then, I'll set up a party. Come join us. I'll gather some single guys and gals, and we'll have a blast. I want a boyfriend too." "Really? Thanks. But, Sarah, you're always busy with work. Are you sure you can do this?" Sarah's suggestion was a godsend for me, who had no opportunities to meet new people. However, Sarah is a career woman working for a trading company. I was worried if it was really okay to ask her to arrange a party like that. "Don't worry. It's for a dear friend. It's no big deal." Sarah laughed it off nonchalantly. "Thank you so much." I thanked Sarah and looked forward to the day. On the day of the party, I dressed up as nicely as I could and went to the venue, where many of the friends Sarah had invited were already gathered. And was very outgoing, had a wide circle of friends, so there were many different types of people there. Among them was Ethan, Sarah's brother, who was 3 years older. I had met him once or twice when we were in high school, but he looked so much more mature now that I didn't recognize him at first. "Hey Camila, long time no see." Ethan was the one who spoke to me first, but I couldn't remember who he was and awkwardly responded with, Even though my reaction was quite rude, Ethan didn't seem bothered at all and kindly introduced himself. It's been a while, so you might not remember. I'm Ethan, Sarah's brother. We met a long time ago, right? Oh, right. Ethan. I'm so sorry, that was rude of me. It's been a long time. Ethan and I quickly started talking, reminiscing about old times. Camila, you were beautiful back in high school, but you've become even more beautiful. What are you doing now? I'm working as a childcare worker. I love kids. That's amazing. Ethan, like Sarah, worked at a trading company. He enjoyed riding his motorcycle, often going on day trips on weekends. Throughout our conversation, Ethan made sure my drink was always topped up, showing a mature and gentlemanly side that I found very attractive. I asked Ethan for his contact info and texted him on WhatsApp soon after the party. We went on several dates and eventually started dating. When Sarah found out about our relationship, she was thrilled. Since our workplaces were close to each other, Ethan and I decided to move in together soon after we started dating, and before long, I found out I was pregnant. What, pregnant? Ethan was so shocked his eyes almost popped out. Yes. I haven't been to the doctor yet, but I confirmed it with a pregnancy test. I was so happy and excited that I could feel my face flushing. Yay! Thank you. Even though the order is a bit mixed up, Camila, will you marry me? Ethan proposed with a big smile, and of course, I said yes. Until I met Ethan, I had never had a serious relationship, but things moved very quickly after we started dating. We had already introduced ourselves to each other's parents when we moved in together, but now we went back to formally announce the pregnancy and our marriage. Everyone was very happy for us, and I was filled with joy. We soon went to the obstetrician for an ultrasound and found out that there were 2 baby sacs in my belly. In other words, I was expecting fraternal twins. Twins! When the doctor explained this, I was incredibly surprised by the unexpected news. I naturally thought I was having one baby, so worries about our future life crossed my mind. But more than that, my heart was filled with joy, and I couldn't wait to meet the 2 babies. Of course, my decision to have the babies didn't waver at all. That night, I told Ethan, who had just come home from work, about the twins. What? Twins? Oh no! Can we handle it? It's gonna be twice as expensive and twice as hard, right? I've heard raising twins is really tough. Ethan seemed caught off guard and looked worried. That's true, but the joy will be double too, right? I'm happy to be having twins. Ethan nodded, saying, that's true. All right, if you want to have them, then let's do it. Yeah. Of course, I want to have them. Ethan's words, if you want to have them, were not what I wanted to hear. I wanted him to be happy about us having twins too, but I understood his worries, so I tried not to let his reaction bother me. I believed that once the babies were born, any worries would disappear because they would be so adorable. I continued working as a childcare worker until my belly started to show, and then I resigned. This job was my calling, so I decided to return to it once the kids grew up. Time passed, and I gave birth to healthy fraternal twins, a boy and a girl. Ethan was overjoyed, tears streaming down his face, and he thanked me, saying, "Thank you. You did great." Seeing Ethan lovingly holding the twins alternately, I felt a deep sense of relief. Even though his initial reaction to the news of twins was mixed, seeing them in person brought more joy than worry. While I was in the hospital, Sarah came to visit. These are my niece and nephew. They're so adorable. Sarah, like me, loved children and teared up as she spoke. Ethan also visited frequently, and I felt nothing but hope for our future life together. I believed that the 4 of us would live happily together. However, soon after being discharged and returning home, my hopes were quickly dashed. The crying is so loud. I can't sleep. Make them stop. Ethan shouted at me. He started yelling at me on the 3rd day after I came home with the twins. I frantically changed diapers and fed them milk, but babies cry. It's their job. They don't stop crying easily, and we had 2 of them. Often, when one started crying, the other would follow. If you say that, then help me out a bit. You could at least hold them. What? Why should I? It was you who wanted to have twins, right? I never expected their crying to be this loud. It's driving me crazy. Unlike you, I have work tomorrow. What if my lack of sleep affects my job? I'm a top performer at my company. Even when I asked Ethan for help, he only complained and never lent a hand. You cried tears of joy when they were born. Why have you changed so much? When I said this, Ethan just scoffed at me. I was moved when they were born. I thought they were adorable while we were in the hospital. But as soon as we got home, their crying was so loud that I couldn't find them cute anymore. If you could just keep them from crying, maybe I'd find them cute again. You're their mom, so you should be able to do that. That's terrible. As I was stunned by Ethan's words, the twins' crying grew even louder. Shut up! Are they monsters? How can they cry so loudly? I can't take this anymore. I can't sleep in this house. I'm going to stay at a hotel. While I was desperately trying to calm the twins, Ethan packed only the essentials into a bag. Then, leaving just a good luck with that, he walked out the door. This can't be happening. I was so disappointed by Ethan's actions that I felt like the world was closing in on me. Ethan had never yelled at me before we brought the twins home. He had always been calm and gentlemanly. But now, he was hurling such cruel words and shouting at me. Was this Ethan's true nature? My emotions were a mess of sadness and anger, and I quietly began to cry. Suddenly, the twins stopped crying. It was probably a coincidence, but it felt as if they were worried about me. I can't afford to cry. I have to be strong for these kids. I vowed to myself that I would stay strong. Since then, Ethan rarely came home. He complained that the twins' crying was too loud and started staying at a hotel every night. He would send me messages on WhatsApp every day saying, "I'm not coming home today. I'm staying at a hotel." With both my family and his far away, I couldn't rely on anyone, and I was constantly sleep-deprived. Even though I loved children and had worked as a childcare worker for years, taking care of twins on my own was extremely challenging. I considered asking Sarah for help, but she was a busy career woman. I felt guilty about asking her for help, so I didn't contact her. Whenever Ethan did come home, he would complain about how I did the housework and never showed any affection for the twins, always being critical instead. After several months of this, one day Ethan sent me a message around noon saying, "I'm coming home today. Of course, have dinner ready. I'm in the mood for braised pork." That night, when Ethan came home, he stepped into the living room and immediately started yelling. "Hey! What's with this messy house? It's a complete disaster. You're supposed to be a housewife. Do your job and clean up." It's true that I was so busy taking care of the twins that I couldn't keep the house tidy, but I didn't think I deserved to be criticized by a man who had left us alone for days. Taking care of these precious kids is my top priority, so the house being a little messy is inevitable. Maybe if there was another adult around to help, I could manage the housework too. I snapped back sarcastically, and Ethan clicked his tongue in annoyance. "Just get dinner ready. I'm exhausted from work and starving. Wash your hands first," I told him calmly, and Ethan stomped off to the sink. While Ethan was washing his hands, I set out the prepared dishes I had bought from the supermarket. The twins had been fussy all day, and I hadn't had any time to cook. I knew Ethan would complain, but I simply hadn't had the time to prepare a meal from scratch. As soon as Ethan finished washing his hands and saw the table, he predictably exploded in anger. "What is this? It's store-bought. Why isn't it homemade? Are you kidding me? Didn't I say I wanted braised pork? Where is it?" Don't yell at me. I didn't have time to cook today. The store didn't have braised pork in their prepared food section, so I couldn't get it. Ethan sneered at my words. Don't give me that no time crap. You're unemployed and acting like you're busy? You're useless. My mom made delicious homemade meals every day while taking care of us. Stop making excuses. Your mom is an amazing person, but she didn't raise twins. My mother-in-law is efficient and kind, always treating me well. My father-in-law is also kind, and I love my in-laws. Whenever I visit them, I see my father-in-law helping with the housework, so they've probably been supporting each other with chores and childcare for a long time. I was furious that Ethan was comparing me to his mom when our situations were completely different. If you're gonna compare me to your mom, then act like your dad and help out. Don't talk back to me. You're a failure as a wife and a mother. That's not fair. Ethan, come home every day and help with the housework and childcare. If you did, the house would be cleaner and I could cook more. Stop complaining when you do nothing. I desperately pleaded with Ethan. I can't do that, I have work. Housework and childcare are women's jobs. And you only have a roof over your head because of me. You can't survive without me, so stop acting all high and mighty. Ethan then got a sly look on his face as if he had an idea. He went to the bedroom and didn't come back for a while. Wondering what he was doing, I peeked into the bedroom and saw him rummaging through the shelves. Got it, he said, holding a piece of paper and smirking at me. That's a divorce paper, I muttered as I stared at the paper. It was indeed a divorce paper, already filled out with Ethan's details. If you can, go ahead and file it. Ethan continued to smirk as he handed me the divorce paper. But you can't, right? An unemployed loser like you can't survive without me. Don't ever talk back to me again, got it? He tried to pull the paper back, but I snatched it from him. With a broad smile, I said, "Thanks. I'll file it right away." What? I signed my section of the paper and, taking the twins with me, left the house. Ethan stood there, dumbfounded, unable to grasp what was happening. As I promised, I went to City Hall and submitted the divorce papers. Just like that, my marriage to Ethan was over. Leaving City Hall, I made a phone call. Hello? Camila, what's up? Did something happen? Sarah's worried voice came through the phone. It was her I had called. Yeah, actually. I told Sarah about my divorce from Ethan and that I'd be staying at her place for a while. Around noon the next day, Ethan called me. Hey! Where are you? Why aren't you coming back? You're unemployed and broke, so you have nowhere to go. I was already tired of his yelling. Stop yelling. Can't you talk at a normal volume? And why am I not coming back? Because we're divorced. Of course, I'm not coming home. I still have a lot of stuff there, so I'll come back a few times to get my things. What? Divorced? You actually filed those papers? You can't survive without me, you idiot. How do you plan to live now? You're so irresponsible. I decided to tell Ethan the truth. I'm actually working as a freelance writer from home, focusing on parenting. A writer? Ethan sounded baffled. Yes, I get a lot of attention because I'm raising twins. I earn enough to live on my own. In reality, I had started writing about parenting when I left my job. With my experience as a childcare worker and being pregnant with twins, I had plenty of stories to share, attracting a lot of readers from the beginning. After giving birth, I wrote candidly about raising twins, which garnered a lot of attention. I also included illustrations, which helped attract more people, leading to a stable income. When did you start doing that? Ethan was shocked by the revelation. I never realized I had a talent for writing when I was a childcare worker. You don't know what you're good at until you try. Writing and drawing are a lot of fun for me. Writing was a great way to take my mind off things while caring for the twins. Although they didn't sleep simultaneously very often, I could still work efficiently during those short periods. So, you weren't unemployed? Are you really divorcing me? Not divorcing you, we already are. I filed the papers yesterday. Didn't I already tell you that? Are you even listening to me? Ethan raised his voice. This is ridiculous. I didn't agree to this divorce. You filed the papers without my consent. This is unfair. What are you talking about? You signed the papers yourself. Saying you didn't agree is pretty unreasonable. I only did that to scare you because you were being cheeky. I never thought you'd actually file them. Go to City Hall right now and tell them it was a mistake. I sighed at Ethan's shouting and responded coldly. So you really didn't want to divorce me? I thought you wanted to remarry your mistress. Ethan seemed to gasp at the mention of the affair. And fell silent. Oh? Why so quiet now? Where's all that confidence you had earlier? What are you talking about? Me, cheating? I have no idea what you're saying. I pressed on, determined. Did you think I didn't know? I have proof of your affair. Pictures of you going in and out of a hotel with a young, pretty girl. There's no point in denying it. You're a scumbag. I intended to speak calmly, but my emotions got the better of me as I talked. Why do you have those pictures? And what do you mean by scumbag? You can't just say that. Take it back. It's the truth, isn't it? Did you think you weren't a scumbag? That's surprising. You don't do any housework or childcare, you yell all the time, you don't even come home. And on top of that, you're cheating. How is that not being a scumbag? Explain it to me. Then Sarah, who was next to me, spoke up to Ethan. I had kept the phone on speaker the whole time. Hey, bro. It's me. What? Sarah? Wait, Camila is at your place? Sarah, tell Camila to come back home. Camila is not coming back to you. You're divorced now, so you two are strangers. You're absolutely the worst, and I heard everything you said to Camila. I really despise you now. In the beginning, when I had just returned home from the hospital, I hesitated to contact Sarah because I didn't want to burden her with her busy work schedule. But when she reached out to me, I confided everything to her as I was at my breaking point. I told her about Ethan's verbal abuse, his lack of help with childcare and housework, and his frequent absences. I also shared my suspicion of his cheating. Ethan always claimed to stay at random hotels, but I doubted he was alone. It was purely a woman's intuition, but I suspected another woman's presence was causing his aggressive behavior. After hearing my concerns, Sarah said, "Got it. I'll follow him. Since we work at the same company, it won't be hard to track his schedule." I felt guilty for relying on Sarah so much, but she reassured me, "Leave it to me." She eventually captured photos of Ethan entering and leaving a hotel with a new female employee. Sarah wanted to confront Ethan immediately, but I asked her to wait until I could bring up the divorce at the right moment. Then, Ethan handed me the signed divorce papers, which made it easy to proceed with the divorce. Sarah, how could you follow me? What kind of sister does that to her brother? Ethan was yelling in rage. How could you do this to us? I never thought you'd be such a horrible person. I regret introducing Camila to you. But Camila doesn't regret marrying you because she got to meet her twins. She told me that, and it really comforted me. Those were my true feelings. Despite Ethan being a terrible person, I never regretted marrying him because it led me to my children. I don't even want to think of you as my brother for making my dear friend suffer and neglecting my adorable niece and nephew. Why are you all blaming me? I pressed on, determined. Ethan, I'll be filing for a share of the assets and alimony for your affair, so be prepared. What? Alimony? You're gonna take my money? Ethan let out a bewildered shout. Of course. And I know who your mistress is, thanks to Sarah, so I'll be suing her for emotional distress damages as well. Wait, please! Don't sue her for it. She's just a new employee. It'd be too harsh. His ridiculous plea made my head ache. Too harsh? She slept with a married man, she deserves it. If you feel so bad, why don't you take responsibility for her? I wouldn't mind at all. Well, you see, I've spent a lot of money on my motorcycle, so I don't have much savings left. Please, I'm begging you. Don't ask for alimony. I'm sorry. Ethan tried to sound apologetic, but his tone was far from genuine. I was fed up and responded coldly. Why are you still acting so superior? I'm not dropping the alimony claim, and your lack of savings is irrelevant. You need to pay up. What? Even though I'm begging you, you still won't let it go? No, I won't. I'm currently looking for a lawyer, so you'll hear from them soon. Goodbye. With that, I hung up the phone. As promised, I filed for alimony against Ethan and sue his mistress for emotional distress damages through a lawyer. The mistress promptly took the appropriate actions and broke up with Ethan, resigned from the company, and returned to her rural hometown. Her parents had covered the damages. But they were furious when they found out she had an affair with a married man and ordered her to help with the family farm. Ethan, who had spent most of his money on his motorcycle hobby, had little savings left. He tried to borrow money from his parents, but they were outraged after hearing the full story from Sarah and sent him away. His parents called me to apologize for their foolish son, but I held no grudge against them since they had always been kind to me. When I mentioned that I would bring the twins to visit them soon, they cried and thanked me profusely. Left on his own, Ethan's infidelity became public knowledge at his workplace after Sarah shared the details with his colleagues. Having previously boasted about being a devoted father, his lies were exposed, and he felt so uncomfortable that he resigned. Without income or savings, and unable to pay the alimony, Ethan called me, begging for reconciliation. Camila, I quit my job and have no money. I can't pay the alimony. Please, take me back. We can rebuild our family together. Do you think marrying me again would cancel the alimony? Well, I'm never taking you back. Your mistress took the appropriate actions immediately, but you haven't paid a single cent yet. Aren't you ashamed to be older than her and still acting this way? Don't be so harsh. I'm begging you. I have no one but you. I love you, Camila. Let's get back together. I'll be a good husband and father from now on. Ethan was sobbing, but I felt no sympathy. You're disgusting and a nuisance. Don't ever call me again. And you better pay the alimony. Goodbye. I ended the call and blocked his number. Later, I heard from Sarah that Ethan had returned to his parents' house, where he begged until they let him stay. He soon moved into a dormitory at a factory owned by a friend of his father's and now lives in a tiny room, doing manual labor every day to pay off the alimony. As for me, after staying at Sarah's for a while, I returned to my parents' home. They welcomed me and doted on the twins. Sharing time with my adorable children and my parents brings me joy, and my work as a parenting writer is going well. When the twins are older, I plan to return to my job as a childcare worker. My brother is a gangster, you know. A punk picking a fight threatens my husband by hinting at the existence of his gangster brother. Yet, my husband retorts with a calm demeanor. Angered by this, the punk douses my husband with whiskey. So much for our restaurant date. I stayed quiet because I didn't want to get involved, but I can't overlook my husband being ridiculed like this. The punk will end up regretting his actions and not even crying, and apologizing will be enough to be forgiven. My name is Sarah. This year, I married Roy, whom I've been dating for 3 years, and we've been enjoying a blissful newlywed life. Roy is my pride and joy. With his well-defined features, a height of 6 feet 2 inches, long limbs, he's what you'd call a head-turner. But Roy's appeal isn't just skin deep. He understands me better than anyone else, took on the role of a homemaker to support my busy work life, and manages everything at home. And, above all, he's incredibly kind. He always puts me first. Roy truly is my pride and joy, and I believe there's no better husband out there. Roy says the same about me. There's no better wife out there. It might sound like we're just showing off to others, but we are a couple who truly respect and cherish each other. I was happy to share meals every day with my kind-hearted husband. I thought I might cause him trouble by marrying him, but I've decided to walk through life together with him. To support me, Roy quit his job and dedicated himself to being a homemaker. He never complains and always supports my career. And when I come home, he greets me with a warm smile. Roy is my rock. And I always want to be there for him, too. Even when I come home late, he's prepared dinner and waited for me. His cooking, which he initially struggled with, has improved so much that he could open his own restaurant. Just hearing him say welcome home and imagining him cooking for me fills me with joy and love. Roy, thank you for today. You've become too good at cooking. It's delicious. I wasn't great at it at first, but I've come to enjoy it. I think I'm better suited to this than typing away at a computer at work. It's fun thinking about what to make every day so you can have a good day. That makes me happy, thank you. But isn't it hard waiting for me to come home late every day? You can go to sleep first if you want. It's okay. I want to eat with you. It's lonely eating alone. I miss seeing your face. I feel the same way. I'll try to finish work earlier and come home as soon as I can. Thank you for everything. Saying this, enjoying Roy's homemade meals was my happiness. But I worry he might be overextending himself, so when I say he can go to sleep first, I mean it. Even so, I know he waits up for me. Thinking this, I enjoy the macarons he prepared for dessert and the warm tea he made. Did you make these macarons yourself? Yes. Pretty cool, right? Surprisingly easy. Baking is fun too. I feel like I've discovered a new talent. Laughing as he swiftly cleans up, Roy is the epitome of a homemaker. And then, I take a bath he prepared, and get into the neatly made bed. He does the housework perfectly, even though I tell him it's okay to slack off sometimes. He never shows tiredness and always takes care of me. Thanks to Roy, even if I come home late from work, I can sleep well and recover. I feel refreshed in the morning, all thanks to Roy. I'm truly grateful. I work hard, hoping to continue this happy life with Roy forever. When I wake up in the morning, the living room downstairs already smells of coffee. On the table, there's fried eggs, sausage, salad, soup, and perfectly toasted bread. The country-style breakfast I requested. Roy greets me with a fresh smile in the morning. Good morning. Did you sleep well? I did, thank you. I appreciate you making breakfast every morning, but isn't it hard on you? Did you sleep well? You should take it easy and sleep in sometimes, you know? It's fine. I'm just doing it because I enjoy it. Come on, eat up. I put lots of veggies in the soup, so it's packed with nutrients. Saying that, we sit down and eat breakfast together. I wonder if there's something I can do for Roy, who always works so hard for us. While sipping my soup, I think it over. Come to think of it, we haven't had the chance to enjoy a leisurely meal out together recently because of our busy schedules. Hey, Roy. How about we go on a date this Saturday? It's been a while. Let's go to that place we used to love. That place is a restaurant, and has been our go-to even before we got married. It's a cozy restaurant that's not too pricey or pretentious, where we can relax and enjoy ourselves. Roy has always loved the meal there. That sounds great, I'd love to go. But are you sure about work? You're not pushing yourself too hard? I want to go out with you too. Work's fine, I can make adjustments. Hearing that, Roy's face lit up with a childlike smile, making me look forward to Saturday even more. And then, on the promised Saturday, I managed to finish work early and got home by 5 p.m. You're early. I'm just getting ready, so wait a bit for me. I was so excited, I powered through my work this morning. Our reservation isn't until 7 p.m., so take your time getting ready. I relax in the living room, waiting for Roy to finish preparing. It's been a while since I've done my hair. Kinda nervous. It really has been a long time since we've gone out together. I'm sorry for always being so busy. Today, you can eat as much as you like. Really? Awesome! I've already decided what I'm gonna order. Can't wait! Despite his playful words, Roy, dressed in his stylish outfit for going out and with his hair perfectly done, looked so handsome and mature it even made me, his wife, swoon a little. Sorry to keep you waiting. Shall we go? Since we still had time before our reservation, we decided to take a walk near the restaurant, enjoying the beautiful night scenery at a popular date spot. It's really been a while since we've had the chance to just go out like this, hasn't it? Yeah, I'm really sorry for always being so busy. Sarah, you apologize too much. I know you're working hard, and I want to support you. Thanks, Roy. But still, it's nice to go on a date like this once in a while. Yeah, it is. We shared laughs and conversations, enjoying the freshness of our rare date night. While it's always fun spending time at home together, stepping out for a date felt exciting and refreshing. As the time for our dinner reservation approached, we headed to the restaurant. We have a reservation. As soon as we opened the door to the restaurant, we were greeted by loud voices and crude laughter. That's hilarious. You're crazy, man. Though this place is known for its down-to-earth atmosphere, we'd never encountered such rowdy customers before. While curious, I hoped to avoid any trouble and took a seat without paying them much attention. Hey! Where's my drink? I ordered more. Sorry, please give us a moment. We've been waiting. Hurry it up. Their rude behavior was unmistakable. It seemed the noise was coming from a group of punks. 3 young men with flashy hairstyles and visible tattoos were drawing attention to themselves. I observed discreetly, hoping to avoid any involvement. Hey, waiter! Hurry up with our order! We're short-tempered, it's scary when we have to wait. Though already displeased by their behavior, I tried not to let it ruin our special date. Roy seemed unfazed, his eyes sparkling as he examined the menu posted on the wall. What should we start with? Just as Roy was about to catch the waiter's attention, one of the punks caught his eye. Hey, you! You just made eye contact with me, didn't you? Hey, are you disrespecting me? It was the worst possible turn of events. It seemed the punks had been drinking heavily and now decided to pick a fight with Roy. However, Roy ignored them and tried to call over the waiter. Excuse me, we'd like to order, please. Their frustration with Roy's disregard only seemed to escalate as the punks stood up and approached us, encircling our table. Hey! I'm talking to you. Are you deaf? You made eye contact with me, didn't you? Are you mocking me? Dealing with uneducated, rule-breaking punks is truly tiresome. While I silently wished for no escalation, Roy calmly addressed them. I was just trying to place an order with the waiter. What's the issue? What's the issue? You made eye contact with me. I think you're mistaken. Roy continued to look at the menu on the wall, ignoring their provocations. Their irritation grew as they refused to leave our table. You're trying to act tough in front of your lady? Please lower your voice. You're bothering the other customers. Roy spoke firmly, showing no sign of fear. This only angered the punks more. One of them blurted out. Hey! Who do you think you're talking to like that? Acting all high and mighty, you idiot. My brother's a gangster, you know. Saying my brother's a gangster means I'm invincible. Mess with me, and you might just end up at the bottom of the ocean. In my mind, I thought, the idiot here is you, but I didn't want to escalate the situation, so I kept quiet and just watched how things unfolded. Roy let out a sigh of frustration. What? What's with that attitude? Are you disrespecting me? Your brother's a gangster? So what? Sure, your brother might be a gangster and that's scary, but what about you? Aren't you embarrassed? causing a scene in the restaurant, making baseless accusations, and then hiding behind your brother. Is that supposed to intimidate me? I'm talking to you right now. Your brother being a gangster doesn't scare me. The atmosphere froze for a moment. Everyone in the restaurant, including other customers and the staff, had their eyes glued on us. And, as expected, the punk got furious. His face turned red as he grabbed Roy by the collar, looking like he was about to punch him. Hey! Apologize for what you just said. Apologize now, and I might forgive you. Hurry up! The punk shouted at Roy. However, Roy remained calm and unafraid, replying smoothly. Resorting to violence just because you can't respond? That's not okay. It just shows you're not smart. We're here to eat, so could you please go somewhere else? In that moment, the infuriated punk released Roy's collar and doused him with whiskey from a nearby bottle. Watch it! Don't get cocky! I don't care what happens to you. I'll tell my gangster brother about this. Even the girl you're with will suffer, you hear? The punk glared at Roy, his face red with anger, as he threatened us. He seemed desperate to make Roy apologize, despite Roy's calm demeanor. But Roy wasn't fazed at all. Oh, it is so sticky. I was wearing my favorite clothes and now they're soaked. I couldn't stay silent any longer and stood up after passing a handkerchief to Roy. Hey, what's your name? Which group does your brother belong to? Why don't you call him over now? What? You lost your mind? What are you gonna do with my name? Well, might as well. My brother is a well-known gangster around here. You'd be scared if you knew his name. He's Bob. You know him, right? I've never heard of him. Well, go ahead, call your brother. What? Are you stupid? Call your gangster brother now. I was suddenly firm in my tone, which took the punk by surprise, quieting him down for a moment. But soon, he snapped, "You're crazy." Fine, I'll call him. But even if you two start crying and apologizing later, it's too late for forgiveness. Just try to act tough. Truly an uneducated fool. What was supposed to be a pleasant date was ruined because of these idiots. And to think they dared to insult and pour whiskey on my dear husband was unforgivable. Don't think you can run away scared. You're not getting away. The punk kept provoking us. You really have no class, it's embarrassing. If you hadn't poured whiskey on my husband and just left quietly, none of this would have happened. What? Shut up. You're only brave for now. Soon, you'll be crying, begging for mercy, saying please and sorry, idiot. I was thoroughly convinced the idiot was him, but I was too disgusted to say anything. Meanwhile, as we waited for the punk's brother, I also made a phone call. Hello, it's me. Yeah, I think you know what's going on. Hey, don't you dare make a phone call without permission. Yeah, you heard? Well, it can't be helped. All right, I'll be waiting. After hanging up and a few minutes passed, the brother arrived at the restaurant, panting heavily as if he had run here. Hey! Over here. Listen, these guys were totally disrespecting us. You gotta beat them up for me. The punk reported to his brother with a smug smile. However, as the brother approached, his expression turned fierce and he suddenly punched the punk. The punk, not expecting to be hit by his own brother, was completely unguarded and got knocked down, causing chairs to topple and bottles to shatter on the floor. Concerned about causing trouble for the restaurant, I apologized to the other customers and went to the staff. I'm really sorry for causing such a commotion. Please keep the change, I said as I handed over all the cash I had. Let's talk outside. Following my lead, the punks were dragged out by the gangster brother. Once we were in a more secluded area, the brother finally spoke. I'm very sorry for what happened. The punk, who had bragged about his gangster brother, was completely lost, not understanding what was happening as his brother apologized. I can't stand idiots without manners. I'm truly sorry. Hey, you guys! What are you standing around for? Don't you realize the situation you're in? What's gotten into you? We don't need to care about these people. The punks were clearly confused by the unexpected turn of events. They couldn't understand why they, protected by Bob's brother, had to apologize after insulting and being rude to my dear husband, and even pouring whiskey on him. I decided to enlighten the punks about the reality of the situation. The gangster brother you were relying on is actually my subordinate. Get it? He's part of my crew. I'm the boss here. Tough luck, huh? If you had a bit more discernment, you wouldn't have ended up in this mess. Dousing my husband with sake was definitely not okay. Yes, the gangster Bob, whom the punk was counting on, had sworn loyalty to me. Hey! You! You poured sake on the boss's husband? Are you out of your mind? Didn't I tell you not to cause any trouble? No, I didn't know. The punk, who had been barking loudly until now, suddenly became as meek as a puppy. Not knowing isn't an excuse. Just apologize already. I'm sorry. Speak up. Well, never mind. Let's take this slow and talk it out at the office. Hearing this, the punk froze. Then, from a black van parked nearby, Bob's underlings started to disembark. Teach these punks some manners, I said, and the underlings efficiently shoved the punks into the car, leaving Bob's brother behind. Bob had requested to deal with his brother personally. Bob's brother was pale, finally realizing the gravity of his situation. Boss, I am truly sorry. I will take full responsibility for this. Well, that's all well and good, but could you first have this punk's brother apologize properly to my husband? Have you not even apologized yet? Apologize now. Bob barked at his brother, who then turned to my husband, gave a slight bow, and said, I'm sorry. Hearing this, my husband smiled. Seeing my husband's forgiving expression seemed to reassure Bob's brother, thinking he was forgiven. But then my husband said with a smile, You call that an apology? You shouldn't take the adult world lightly. Suddenly, Bob's brother's face went pale, crying and begging for forgiveness. I'm so sorry. I won't ever do something like that again. Please forgive me. I'll pay for the damage. I'm truly sorry. Apologies need to come from the heart to mean anything, you know? Well, I'm fine now. The rest is up to my wife and Bob. Roy stepped back, letting Bob take over. Idiot. Haven't I always told you? Your behavior would bring disaster one day. I've cleaned up your messes before, but this time, there's nothing I can do. I can't forgive you either. The world of gangsters isn't as forgiving as you think. Don't just use my name without understanding the consequences of your actions. Bob was absolutely right. What should I do now? His brother seemed suddenly scared after hearing Bob's words. Bob had already decided on how to handle his brother's situation. Really? You're okay with this? Yes, I've been prepared for this ever since I joined this world. I'm not the type to run away from something like this. I'm truly sorry. This is the result of me being too lenient with you. I'm fine, really. I wasn't harmed. But I can't overlook you pouring on my husband. Bob then dragged his brother into the car and drove off. The world of gangsterism is harsh, huh? Bob, despite everything, really cared for his brother. Makes me feel a bit guilty too. Our world is all about loyalty and strict discipline. Well, it was Bob's decision, so let's just watch over them. It's strange, events like these remind me of the past. My parents were heads of a gangster family. A legacy that goes back generations. Being the only daughter of such a family, I grew up isolated. Rumors spread quickly at school, and in college, just one person knowing about me was enough to spread gossip. I considered joining a regular company after graduation, but knew it would be difficult if my background was investigated. I struggled with my future, feeling the pressure to continue my family's legacy, but also desiring a normal life. Eventually, I chose to live as a gangster. A world that valued loyalty and human bonds, which suited my personality despite the loneliness. People around me were always cautious, and I couldn't find friends whom I could truly trust. Despite being surrounded by many gangster associates, there was no one who really understood me. I felt profoundly lonely. Roy, my husband, changed that. We met when I was a fresh face in the world, and he stood up to punks despite being outnumbered. Since that time, Roy seemed to have a strong sense of justice, defending someone from punks, which apparently made him a target himself. I helped him. At that time, Roy didn't seem to think I was involved with the gangster. After all, it's not every day that an ordinary woman chases away 5 punks. Thank you so much. You really saved me. You're very strong. What a cool woman. Despite not knowing my background, he thanked me. Are you hungry? If it's okay, I'd like to treat you to a meal. He even invited me for a meal as thanks. Our relationship grew from there. And though I feared telling him about my background, fearing it would end our relationship, his understanding and acceptance only deepened our bond. But I was scared. There had been many people who suddenly changed their attitude or drifted away once they found out I was associated with the gangster. I feared that revealing my true identity would end our relationship. Despite these fears, I continued to date Roy. However, one day, while we were together, a greeting from one of my underlings inadvertently revealed my identity. Boss? My parents were gangster leaders, and I've always lived in that shadow, afraid of being rejected for it. I had a hunch about it pretty early on. You sometimes looked troubled, and I thought it must be hard for you, having to keep something from me. I'm sorry for putting you through that. Having lost my parents when I was young, I'm quite sensitive to feelings of loneliness and isolation. I couldn't ignore it, I could see those same feelings in you. Roy. Meeting Roy made me feel understood for the first time, and that was a joy. Yet, being part of the gangster is different from ordinary life. And the thought of potentially causing him trouble someday made me a bit afraid. Roy, you're truly amazing and kind. But being with me might bring you inconvenience, so maybe. I found myself at a loss for words. Are you suggesting we should break up? I don't want that. I know all the good in you, and being gangster doesn't change who you are. You're you. You've probably had a hard time being the daughter of a gangster, right? You don't have to bear it alone anymore. I'm here for you, Roy said, hugging me gently with a reassuring smile. I have no parents, no close relatives. You're all I have, Sarah. I want to be with you. At that moment, I vowed to spend my life with Roy, to cherish him forever. Yet, now I've dragged him into this situation. And I felt down. Even if Roy seemed calm when confronted by the punks, he might have been scared deep down. If only I had acted sooner. He might now be afraid of me, thinking he doesn't want a gangster partner. Sarah, are you worrying unnecessarily? I'm sorry for involving you in this. I was afraid it might scare you away. Sarah, are you worrying about things that aren't even an issue? Do you think I can read minds? But seriously, if anything, I trust you more. Having you by my side, there's nothing to fear. And hey, I'm a man too. I've decided to protect you if the need arises. Roy's words reinforced my belief that I had chosen the best partner. Someone who truly understands and supports me, even amidst the complexities of my life and background. It's clear that protecting those important to us is paramount. It's my responsibility to ensure no one is left alone. That thought solidified in my mind as we moved on from the incident. I'm hungry, we didn't get to eat. Yeah, let's try another place. And with that, we began walking, ready to move forward together. Could you move? You're in the way there. Hey, wait a sec. As she said that, my stepdaughter, squatting down, kicked me with her foot while I was cleaning the hallway. I lost my balance and ended up sitting down hard. This kind of thing was a daily occurrence, always happening when my husband, Simon, wasn't around, as if she was targeting those moments to harass me. Hey! Why did you even marry Dad? What? You're after his money, aren't you? He makes a good amount, after all. That's not true at all. It really wasn't. I didn't even know what Simon did for a living or how much he earned until right before we got married. Well, whatever. You'll be leaving here soon anyway. What are you thinking? If you want to know, how about you beg me? That's not happening. Are you sure? It'll be worse for you if Dad finds out. I couldn't cause trouble for Simon. I had left my pride behind when I divorced my previous husband. Tell me, please. You actually did it. That's seriously messed up. It was a lie. Of course it was. Are you dumb? I didn't say you could stop, though. Then, she tried to hold me down. Old ladies like you should just crawl around. I heard the door open, and Simon came back home. No way. He's back? It'll be much worse for you if you tell Dad. I couldn't say such a thing. What's going on here? Just noticed some trash on the floor. You're home early today, aren't you? Yeah, I am. Actually, I've got another business trip coming up. It'll be for a week. When does it start? It's still a bit away. I felt a chilling gaze from behind and got goosebumps. Though there was still some time before Simon's business trip, I ended up breaking my leg at the worst possible timing. Somehow, I managed to be discharged from the hospital, but that's when the real hell began. And Simon left for his business trip. Michelle had been eagerly waiting for this moment. I'm going on a trip, so give me some money. What? There's no way. Don't lie to me. I know about it. Saying that, she started rummaging through the third drawer of the dresser. See? I knew it. I'll be taking this as my travel funds, then. What Michelle had found was the $20,000 I had saved up for emergencies. Wait! Though I had been discharged, I still needed crutches to walk. As I tried to stand and chase after Michelle, she grabbed my crutches and broke them in half against the wall. How could you do this? I don't need fakes like you. Just try not to die. And so, I was left alone in the second floor room. Michelle went on her trip, leaving me all alone. There was no longer any need to hold back. A devil whispered inside me. Seek revenge. 7 days later, Michelle came home and, sensing something was off, rushed upstairs in a panic. And so began my revenge. I'm Sally, and I'll be turning 45 this year. I live with my husband, Simon, and his daughter, Michelle. I had thought we would lead a happy life together when we first got married. Surely everyone thinks that at first. Now, I find myself reminiscing more and more about the time when I first met Simon. How did it come to this? Simon and I got married a year ago, but we were originally just shop owners and customers. I had just divorced and honestly had almost no will to live. At that time, I was managing a small cafe that I had started with my previous husband by myself. You will be fine. Thanks. Simon was a regular customer who often visited the cafe. I've been through a divorce too, you know. Really? But I thought you said things were looking like they might work out. I never thought that would happen, especially not cheating. And to think, she seemed so kind. I vaguely remember her face from the times he came to the shop with her. And with 2 people at that. I almost passed out right there. That's, well, shocking. We ended up sharing our feelings, comforting each other. Somehow, we clicked, and we started meeting outside of the shop as well. It began with just meals, but soon we were taking trips on weekends. By the way, you had a daughter, right? Is she okay? She's in high school now, so she's fine. But still, a girl, you know. Right. Sally didn't have kids, after all. Yeah, that's right. We thought it impolite to probe too deeply into each other's family matters, so we never brought it up. Though we never officially confessed, after nearly a year together, it felt like we were dating. Not that I was too hung up on definitions. Then, there was this moment. You know. Yeah? We seem to share a lot of the same values and thoughts. I guess so. That's why I think we're a good match. I think so too. So, we should probably spend more time together. Wait, what are you trying to say? Will you marry me? Marry. Is that a no? It's not that, but I couldn't give an immediate answer. I just couldn't shake off my ex-husband. My divorce was due to psychological abuse. And when he felt like he could be accused, he vanished, leaving only the divorce papers behind. Of course, I don't believe Simon would ever do something like that. I want to be with Sally, always. I'm comfortable with you. And I'm not asking for anything. Simon kept insisting on how much I meant to him. I've never been approached like this before. Are you okay? Sorry, got a bit too excited. Seeing him like that. I couldn't help but find it endearing. About your proposal, if you're okay with me. Really? That's great. But my worries weren't over yet. I had yet to meet Simon's daughter. That chance came soon enough. Let me introduce you. This is my daughter, Michelle. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too. I'm Sally. So, Dad's decided to marry Sally. That's right. Congratulations. Thanks. Looks like we'll have to move then. The engagement went over smoothly. Then came the moving preparations. I've never asked before, but what does Simon do? Now that you mention it, I haven't told you. He works as an interpreter. An interpreter? I would have never guessed. Right? Simon is fluent in 5 languages. But, he might have to travel for work, which could be inconvenient. That's okay. Appreciate it. The move went smoothly, and our life as a family of 3 began. Michelle, initially quiet, gradually opened up. Sally. Oh, no. Mom? You don't have to call me that if it feels forced. Just use whatever's comfortable for you. Thanks. So, I was wondering why you decided to get married. Well, maybe because I was passionately talking into wanting to get married for hours? Really? Dad did that? From what I've heard, Simon seemed to be a serious guy who didn't joke much at home. But, the Simon I've seen is quite the opposite, full of humor. Our relationship continued to deepen, and Michelle went off to college. But then, Michelle started acting strangely. Michelle, about Dad's upcoming business trip. She used to respond normally, but now. Sorry, but can you not talk to me right now? What's wrong? You weren't like this before. Huh? Are you seriously clueless? It didn't take long to see Michelle's true colors. Well, I'm off on my business trip. I'll be back the day after tomorrow. Got it. Take care. Okay, I'm off. It was the first time Michelle and I would be alone together. Ever since her sudden change of attitude a while ago, I've found it a bit difficult to interact with her. Maybe she's having a tough time adjusting to college. I couldn't tell. But Michelle made the first move. Hey, can you not get too cocky? I'm not trying to. Huh? Just look at how Dad acts. He's always talking about you. That doesn't mean I'm getting cocky. Your smugness is irritating. What are you trying to do, cozy up to Dad? What are you talking about? The complaints continued. Listening to Michelle, one thing became clear. She really loves her dad. Are you jealous by any chance? A moment of silence followed. Huh? Why would I be jealous of you? I'm not a child anymore. At the time, I didn't think much of it. I would regret saying that later on. Michelle locked herself in her room and wouldn't come out. Even knocking got no response. Then, the next day. I'm going out with friends, give me some money. Money? Don't you get an allowance from Dad? That's not enough. Then, we can talk about it when he gets back. Michelle, scratching her head, slammed her hand on the desk. Didn't you listen? I said I'm going out with friends. Just give it to me. Realizing she wouldn't give up, I decided to give her the money. Is this enough? Only $100? The shop's doing well, right? Give me more. That's all you're getting. I could tell Dad, you know? With a face like she'd swallowed a bug, Michelle left. I couldn't help but sigh. Why did it come to this? When Simon returned from his trip, Michelle acted as if nothing had happened. How were the two of you? It was your first time alone, right? Before I could answer, Michelle cut in. We were fine. Got along well, right, Mom? She beamed at me. Yeah, that's right. Good. I was a bit worried, but it seems I didn't need to be. Exactly. Dad worries too much. Oh, right. I got a souvenir for Sally. A souvenir? Yes. Here. The souvenir was the aromatherapy oil I had mentioned wanting before. Thank you. But wasn't this a limited edition? Just happened to find it. I felt Michelle's glaring eyes on me then. Maybe her insides were boiling. Isn't there something for Michelle? Right. Almost forgot. Here, Michelle, this is for you. It was obviously a much larger bag than mine. She lit up with excitement. Thank you, Dad. But when she saw what was inside, Michelle's excitement faded. I remembered you saying you liked it before, so I chose it. Thanks. I'm happy. Despite her words, her face was strained. I'm tired now. I'm going to bed. Okay, good night. Once Simon was in the bedroom, Michelle threw her gift on the floor. What are you doing? Why do you get something expensive and I get this childish stuffed animal? Michelle had received a stuffed animal of a character popular among the younger generation as her souvenir. Let's trade. Huh? Just give it to me. Stop it. Michelle tried to forcibly take the bottle of aromatherapy oil from me. Dad will wake up, you know? Then give it to me quickly. After a struggle, I couldn't match the strength of a teenager. The bottle slipped from my hand and shattered on the floor. It's your fault for not giving it to me sooner. Blaming me entirely, Michelle returned to her room. I gathered the pieces of the broken bottle. Luckily, a little bit of oil was left, which I carefully put back into the box. The smell of lavender spread throughout the living room. This wasn't how I wanted to experience it. I kept scrubbing the floor over and over. The next morning, Simon noticed the smell too. Did you use it already? Yeah, but maybe I used a bit too much. No, it's fine. I love this scent anyway. Then Michelle came into the living room. Good morning, Michelle. Smells good, doesn't it? Yeah. Got classes today? Yeah, I do. Are they fun? Kind of. She looked grumpy when she woke up, but her mood improved as she talked with Simon. Before we knew it, it was time to head to the shop. I'll be leaving soon. All right. Is it that time already? Then I'll come with you. Just give me a minute. Because our conversation was interrupted, Michelle started to get irritated. Her irritation was clearly directed at me. Even without seeing her face. Sorry for the wait. Shall we go then? Yeah. Don't be late, Michelle. Once we arrived at the shop, we immediately started preparing. Thankfully, we had a full house of customers again today. All thanks to Simon's various pieces of advice and even financial support, despite my objections. He insisted it was for my sake too. While closing the shop at 7 p.m., an unexpected person showed up. Long time no see, Sally. I turned around at the familiar voice. Why are you here? Why? This place is mine too, isn't it? It's mine now. Leave. I've changed. So, let's start over. I've remarried. I can't be with you. Even if I wasn't married, I wouldn't want to be with you. Realizing this could go badly, I tried to push past my ex-husband to get outside. But he grabbed my arm and pulled me back. I can't forget you. He started to lick my neck, giving me goosebumps all over. Then, I heard the sound of a camera shutter from somewhere. I couldn't see who it was, but they ran off immediately after. With that distraction, I managed to push him away and escape. Don't ever come here again. I'll call the cops. All right, he said as he left. My heart was still racing. I never thought he would show up here. I quickly closed the shop and went home. I'm home. No reply. Simon had said he'd be late, too. Maybe Michelle hadn't returned from school yet. I sat down to think about how to deal with my ex showing up at the shop. While I was lost in thought, someone entered the living room. It was Michelle. With a somewhat smug look. Michelle. To think you'd do something like that behind Dad's back. What are you talking about? It's too late to hide it now. Michelle showed me her phone's screen. It was from when my ex-husband confronted me at the shop. So, it was you who took that photo. That's solid evidence of cheating, isn't it? If I show this to Dad, you're finished. You're misunderstanding something. Excuses now? It's not an excuse. The person in this photo isn't a lover. Then who is it? Tell me. That man is. Your voices were loud enough to hear outside. What's going on? Just then, Simon came back home. Listen to this. This tramp was cheating at the shop. Cheating? Look at this. She showed Simon the photo. See, just like I said. This is. Simon was taken aback, as Michelle struggled to suppress her laughter. But then. Did everything turn out okay? Yes. Nothing else happened? No. He ran off when I said I'd call the cops. I see. What are you guys talking about? Michelle, did you really think this photo was evidence of cheating? Well, anyone would think that if they saw this. This man, isn't he your ex-husband? Simon asked, even though he had never shown her a photo of my ex-husband before. Exactly. He wanted to get back together with me. We need to come up with a plan then. She could be lying, you know. Enough. If that's what you want to believe, then fine. Time will tell. Later on, they went to the police, and the shop started to be watched more closely. Michelle's photo proved to be useful. It was also discovered that my ex-husband was already wanted for fraud. Since this incident, Michelle became much quieter and started to treat me kindly. Like when Simon and I first got married. Mom, I have a favor to ask. A favor? My friend's birthday is coming up, and I was wondering if we could use the shop to celebrate. That's fine by me. Thanks. She had never relied on me this much before. So, I ended up trusting her words, forgetting all about the past. But that trust would lead me into an even deeper darkness. Michelle kept being kind to me, asking about the shop and my relationship with Simon, things she would never normally inquire about. This continued daily, eventually causing me to become suspicious. And then, the day came. I'll come by after the shop closes. Got it. Is something happening today? Remember, Michelle wanted to celebrate her friend's birthday here. Oh yeah, she did mention that. But keep it moderate. I will. I waited for Michelle and her friends after closing the shop. 5 people arrived, including Michelle. But all the others were men. For the time being, I prepared the alcohol we bought and the party started. Come on, Mom, have a drink with us. I'm good. I'm not much of a drinker. I've always just sipped on a glass of alcohol, hardly ever drinking. Despite my refusal, they kept insisting, so I ended up drinking a glass of beer. It had been years since I last drank, so it hit me instantly. Come on, it's a special day. Drink up. I lost count of how many drinks I had after that. Next thing I knew, I was sitting on the sofa. Michelle was saying something, but I couldn't make it out. Then, I felt like I was being undressed. My vision gradually cleared.
What are you doing?
Indeed, they were trying to take off my clothes. Now they were attempting to remove my skirt too. I tried to escape, but I was held down and couldn't move.
Michelle! Stop them right now.
Why?
Was everything a lie?
Obviously. By the way, these guys are interested in someone like you. I posted online and they showed up right away.
What about friends?
That was a lie too. I don't even know their names. I tried desperately to move, but they were too strong, and I couldn't do anything. Finally, my skirt was removed, and I was left in my underwear. Look here. I'm going to record this.
Do you think this is okay?
Oh right. Can't have sound, or it'll be too obvious. I'll have to delete that later.
What's the purpose of doing this?
To show Dad. To get a divorce. You're not needed here. You're annoying, so maybe I should gag you too.
Just stop it.
Really, you're so annoying. Just do whatever you want with her. In the end, I was stripped naked and violated by the men. I don't remember anything after that. When I realized, the shop was empty, and I just felt nauseous. I quickly got dressed and went home.
You're late.
Where's Michelle?
She's already back.
I see. I showered, trying to wash off the men's touch. I couldn't tell anyone about this. But this was exactly what Michelle wanted. After that, I had no choice but to accept whatever Michelle did to me. You're in the way there. Can you move?
Wait a second.
As I said that, Michelle kicked me while I was squatting down, cleaning the corridor. I lost my balance and fell. Hey! Why did you marry Dad?
Huh?
It's for the money, right? He earns a lot, after all.
That's not true.
Of course, it's not. I didn't even know about my husband's job or income until just before we got married. Well, it doesn't matter. You'll be leaving here soon anyway.
What are you planning?
If you want to know, why don't you beg me?
That's impossible.
Really? I think it'd be worse for you if Dad found out. I can't trouble Simon. And now, I'm at Michelle's mercy.
Please, tell me.
You actually did it. This is seriously messed up.
Was that a lie?
Obviously. Are you stupid? And I didn't say you could stop. Then, she tried to pin me down. An old lady like you should just grovel on the floor. I heard the front door open, and Simon came back. No way. He's back? If you tell Dad, things will get much worse. I couldn't possibly say that. What are you doing there? Just some trash on the floor. You're back early today, aren't you? Yeah, I've got another business trip coming up. A week this time. When does it start? Not for a while yet. I felt a chilling gaze from behind and goosebumps formed on my skin. Then, I ended up breaking my bones. It was all Michelle's doing. I was pushed from behind while going down the stairs at home. I tumbled to the bottom, and when I looked up, Michelle was laughing like she was possessed. I'll call an ambulance for you. But say you fell yourself, okay? After being taken to the hospital, I needed surgery. My left leg was fixed with bolts, and my right ankle was broken, leaving me unable to walk. Are you okay? Don't push yourself. Thank you. I heard you fell down the stairs. Well. Michelle was looking at us from behind Simon. Yeah, that's what happened. So silly of me. For now, just focus on getting better. Michelle occasionally came to visit me under the guise of checking in, but it wasn't out of concern, she just came to laugh at me. How are you feeling? Average, I guess. Just take it easy. Though, I guess you can't do much since you can't walk. I had recovered enough to walk with crutches. But even after being discharged, I couldn't feel at ease. Before I knew it, the day Simon had to leave for a business trip arrived. I'm sorry to leave you like this, especially now. It's work, so it can't be helped. Michelle, you take good care of her, okay? Yeah, leave it to me. Simon left for his trip. Michelle had been eagerly waiting for this moment. As soon as Simon left, she came to me. I'm going on a trip, so give me some money.
What? There's no way.
Don't lie. I know you have it. She then started rummaging through the third drawer of the dresser.
See? I knew it. I'll be taking this as my travel fund.
What Michelle had found was the $20,000 I had saved for emergencies.
Wait. How did you know about that?
I'm not going to tell you.
Did you sneak in here?
Maybe. Her expression made it clear it was true. She hadn't taken it before, perhaps wanting to see the despair on my face as she took it right in front of me. I tried to stand up and chase after Michelle. Just die already. She grabbed my crutches, smashing them against the wall until they broke in half.
How could you do this?
People like you, a fake mother, are not needed. Just try not to die, okay? And so, I was left alone in the upstairs room. Michelle went on her trip, leaving me by myself. It was clear now, I didn't need to endure any longer. A voice within me whispered, "Seek revenge." It was difficult without crutches, but not impossible to stand. I thought of contacting Simon, but my smartphone had been taken by Michelle, leaving me no way to reach out. But I couldn't just give up. Somehow, I made it down to the first floor, used an umbrella as a makeshift cane, and went to the neighbors for help. I borrowed their phone and called Simon.
What? Are you serious?
It might be hard to believe. I'm coming home right away. Just hang in there a little longer. Simon returned as soon as he could.
What happened?
I recounted everything Michelle had done to me since we got married, as far as I could remember. Finally, I mustered the courage to tell him about the incident at the shop. Simon was trembling either from anger or shock.
I can't forgive this, not even if she's my daughter.
Will you help me? Huh? If your anger is real, I need your help to get back at her. Okay. What do you need me to do? Well, about that. We prepared and waited for Michelle's return. 7 days later, an oblivious Michelle came home cheerfully. I'm home. No one's answering? I wonder how she's doing. Maybe she really died. Then, as she tried to go upstairs, she noticed something was off.
What? This smell, it's like something's rotting.
Michelle opened the bedroom door. And then she let out a scream that echoed throughout the house. Simon quietly approached the bedroom. Peeking in, he saw something resembling a person lying on the bed.
What should we do? Should we dispose of it somewhere? But it might be found immediately.
Hearing that, Simon burst into the room. What are you doing?
Dad? Why are you here? I thought you were on a business trip.
I got a call saying Michelle was up to no good.
But...
Michelle turned her eyes to the bed. She must have thought I was actually dead. I'm right here.
Why are you alive? Then, what's this?
Oh, that? Simon and I prepared it. But I never thought you'd try to dispose of it. How rotten can you get? We had found a love doll that looked like a person while searching for something convincing. It was expensive, but we couldn't worry about the cost. So, you haven't learned independence at your age, huh? Then I'll dismantle that. Go ahead. Michelle pulled out her smartphone and showed Simon the video in question. However, Simon showed no reaction. What's this supposed to mean? Come on, this is clearly over the line, isn't it? This proves how dangerous she is. That's why you should divorce her.
The only dangerous person here is you. I know everything. How? Did she tell you herself?
Yes, and you know what? The shop is fully equipped with security cameras. Everything was recorded. Even the things you ordered.
No way.
At this point, Michelle had no way out. Just so you know, what you did is a crime. And so is what those men did. You've done something foolish. I wish I could punish you with my own hands. Seeing Simon's face, Michelle seemed to lose all strength and just sat down. The police have already been informed. You might even get arrested. Give up. You're no daughter or anything to me anymore. You've gone too far. Soon after, the police were notified. A patrol car came to take her in for questioning. She looked as if her soul had left her body. Are you okay? I'm fine. But Simon, I'm ready for whatever comes. The police said that the men who attacked me were also arrested. They all claimed they were instigated by a woman. The exchanges on Michelle's smartphone were the conclusive evidence. Later, Michelle was charged as an instigator. This was the right thing, wasn't it? Of course. Sally, you did nothing wrong. Yeah. Simon hugged me gently. There was no comfort like it. Later, we decided to visit Michelle. She looked emaciated, almost like a different person. Dad. You came. I came to see if you've really learned your lesson. Of course, I have. I doubt that. Why are you even here? It's all your fault, isn't it? Simon sighed deeply. Just like Sally said, you haven't learned a thing. No, that's not true. I really have. Believe me. You're an adult now. You'll have to live with your actions and their consequences. Goodbye. Simon left first. Now you see. If only you hadn't done what you did. Or maybe if you'd been more independent, this wouldn't have happened. What are you talking about? You've been abandoned. So good luck. Wait. Come back here. When was the last time I felt this relieved? But the scars I've received will last a lifetime. Still, Simon is by my side.